I was jolted awake by some very rough and unexpected turbulence. Lots of folks were screaming. Kids were crying. Total chaos. The overhead bins began opening from the consistent shaking. Luggage came crashing down on everyone that had aisle seats. Luckily, I had a window seat. Curious, I looked out the window and couldn't believe what I was seeing. I saw 3 red lights keeping pace with the plane. After a few seconds, I could feel the nose of the plane dip sharply. I started getting that going down the first big hill on a roller coaster feeling. The oxygen masks flopped down from the ceiling. I scrambled to put one on. As I was tightening it to my face, I looked out the window again. The wing and the whole area around the plane was now covered in a red glow. I saw the water from Lake Michigan coming up fast. There's no way we're pulling up in time. Terrified, I closed my eyes and braced for impact. Last week I did a video on the Bermuda Triangle. The link's in the description. Then I thought, you know what? I'll do a whole fucking series on the triangle phenomenon. Just like a triangle has 3 sides, this series is going to feature 3 videos. This video is about the lesser known but equally fucked Lake Michigan Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle ain't the only aquatic region with a reputation for unexplainable shit. For centuries, a triangular area in Lake Michigan has been ground zero for sunken ships, vanishing crews, and disappearing aircraft. Adding to the mystery, the Lake Michigan Triangle is also known for UFO sightings and strange lights on the horizon. Lake Michigan is massive. It spans 307 miles in length and 118 miles in width. It's the second largest of the Great Lakes by volume. It averages 279 feet deep, reaching a maximum depth of 923 feet, with 1,640 miles of shoreline and home to 12 million people. The Michigan Triangle stretches from Ludington, Michigan to Manitowoc, I think that's right, Wisconsin, down to Benton Harbor, Michigan, and back to Ludington. Our planet, often called the Blue Planet, is 70% covered by water, making it suitable for life. However, the oceans and lakes still hold many secrets. The Michigan Triangle is no exception. Although not as famous as the Bermuda Triangle, it has its share of strange shit. The Lake Michigan Triangle has been associated with numerous shipwrecks and aerial disappearances over the years. It's also been the site of strange phenomena, from mysterious ice blocks falling from the sky to balls of fire and hovering lights. These incidents have led many folks to believe it's due to extraterrestrial activity or the existence of a dimensional portal in the area. The term Lake Michigan Triangle became popularized primarily in the late 1970s, largely due to the work of Jay Gorley. In his 1977 book, The Great Lakes Triangle, Gorley explored various mysterious occurrences and disappearances in the Great Lakes region, which helped cement the term in popular culture. Although stories of strange occurrences in the area date back much earlier, it was Gorley's book that brought widespread attention to the idea of a triangle in Lake Michigan similar to the Bermuda Triangle. The following are some of the most mysterious and downright chilling encounters in the Lake Michigan Triangle. The Lake Michigan Triangle's eerie history has an assload of incidents between 1850 and 1950, with a few more recent events. The first strange occurrence was the disappearance of the trade ship Le Griffin in the 17th century. On September 18, 1679, Le Griffin embarked on its maiden voyage with 12,000 pounds of fur, planning to use the Great Lakes to navigate a northwest passage to the Far East to expand the fur trade. However, the ship never reached its final destination. Numerous theories surround Le Griffin's fate, including mutiny, theft, bad weather, and the Lake Michigan Triangle. Most believe it sank, but no conclusive evidence has been found to prove that. Some figure the ship went down in a storm, while others believe the Ottawas or Potawatomis boarded it, murdered the crew, and set it on fire. The ship's builder suspected the captain and crew sank the ship and took off with the fur. However, there is no substantial evidence for any of these theories. The Le Griffin simply vanished into the Lake Michigan Triangle. Although it's widely assumed the ship sank to the lake's depths, no trace of its wreckage, cargo, or crew has been recovered. Many divers have searched for Le Griffin, with some claiming to have found parts of it. In 2001, researcher Steve Lubert found what might be Le Griffin's figurehead at the lake's bottom. The bow included sculptures of a mythical half-lion, half-eagle creature. That'd be a griffin. Hey, that does match the name of the ship. However, scientists have not agreed that this was from the Le Griffin, adding to the ship's infamy. The wreckage is considered the holy grail for Great Lakes wreck divers. Built in 1870, the 132-foot-long, three-masted schooner Thomas Hume belonged to lumber baron Charles Hackley's fleet. Sailing alongside her sister ship, the Rouse Simmons, the two ships embarked from Muskegon, Wisconsin to Chicago with a large shipment of lumber. On May 21, 1891, after dropping off the shipment, the schooners set off for home, the Hackley-Hume lumber mill in Muskegon. Soon after, both captains noticed ominous storm clouds. The Rouse Simmons retreated back to Chicago, but the Thomas Hume's captain decided to Rambo it and push forward. When the Rouse Simmons returned to Muskegon 2 days later, after the weather cleared, oddly, there was no sign of the Thomas Hume. Hackley and his business partner offered a $300 reward, about $9,800 today, for information, but exhaustive searches yielded no trace of the crew or wreckage. The popular theory was that she sank in the same storm that forced the Rouse Simmons to retreat, though some, including Hackley, believed another boat collided with and sunk the schooner. In 2006, professional recovery diver Taras Lysenko, searching for a lost U.S. Navy aircraft, discovered a sunken ship in the southeastern portion of Lake Michigan. The vessel, found 150 feet below the surface, was almost completely intact and perfectly preserved by the cold water, ruling out a collision. Ongoing research aims to confirm the wreckage as the Thomas Hume and uncover what really happened to the schooner and its crew on that fateful night. At the time that the Thomas Hume disappeared, people began to say, "What the hell is going on in Lake Michigan?" From that point on, it seemed as if strange and mysterious things were popping off on a regular basis, which was making sailors wired and bystanders curious. 21 years pass, and now it's November 22nd, 1912. World War I is on the horizon, and a new generation of sturdy Wisconsin sailors is traversing the Lake Michigan waters. This time, that good old vessel, the Rouse Simmons, is on another run, transporting Christmas trees from Thompson, Michigan to Chicago. Captain Herman Schuneman helps load the Christmas tree ship with 5,000 balsam firs and invites the Michigan lumberjacks to catch a free ride to Chicago with them, if they want to. The crew of 16, along with 8 extra lumberjacks, set off into the waters. In a kind of triangle irony, the ship, like her sister ship, the Thomas Hume, never arrives at its destination. On November 23rd, the ship was spotted sailing in clear conditions with a distress flag flying. A rescue boat is sent to help out, but when it arrives, there is nothing there. There's no wreckage and not even a ship. It just vanished. Later, Christmas trees began to wash up along the shore. A fisherman in Two Rivers snagged Captain Schuneman's wallet a year later. There was no sign of the ship until October 1971. The Rouse Simmons was found by a scuba diver, Gordon Kent Bell Richard, off the coast of Two Rivers, Wisconsin. She was sunk in 165 feet of water and no sign of what took her down into the depths of her watery grave. In 1875, a ferry crossing Lake Michigan discovered the schooner Roosevelt floating upside down with its 11-man crew missing. The ship was flipped over and returned to service in Milwaukee. Strange events began blowing up after the turn of the century. In October 1921, Captain Ed Johnson of the Roosevelt refused to board the ship, exclaiming a premonition of disaster. The crew left without him, leaving High Island, Michigan, bound for Benton Harbor. Days later, the Roosevelt was found capsized again, 42 miles from Milwaukee, with no sign of her crew. The stern was missing, suggesting a collision, but no ship reported an accident. The United States Coast Guard determined there was no collision and no evidence pointed to the cause of the wreck. Nearby ships reported no sightings of shipwrecks, collisions, or crew in distress. This incident was eerily similar to the Roosevelt's earlier wreck, kind of like a sick deja vu. The unexplained disappearances sparked wild speculation about the Lake Michigan Triangle, with some saying it was a portal to another dimension or time. Unlike other shipwrecks, the Roosevelt itself didn't vanish, but no trace of the 11 crew members has ever been found, twice. Theories abound. Some suspect a collision with a lake monster or alien abductions, while others figure the Roosevelt collided with another ship that then sank without a trace. This would explain why there was no collision report. Did the Roosevelt encounter a rogue wave, or was something more sinister at play? The redundant disappearances and lack of concrete evidence continue to puzzle experts and fuel paranormal theories about the Lake Michigan Triangle. Weird-ass shit have continued to occur along the lake's waters. George R. Donner was the captain of the O.M. McFarland, a coal freighter. On April 28, 1937, Donner's 58th birthday, the ship picked up 9,800 tons of coal in Erie, Pennsylvania, and then traveled west through the Great Lakes, headed for Port Washington, Wisconsin. The captain had spent many hours on the bridge directing the O.M. McFarland through ice floes. When they reached Lake Michigan, Donner was wore out and retired to his cabin. He told the crew to wake him up once the ship got near their destination. 3 hours later, after leaving the Lake Michigan Triangle, the vessel neared Port Washington. The second mate went to Donner's cabin and knocked on the door. He heard someone inside say, "Like this video." Just fucking with you. He got no response. When he tried the handle, he found that it was locked. Figuring Donner had gone to the galley for a snack, he went to the galley but found no one munching. The crew frantically began an extensive search for their captain, but zilch. They eventually broke down the door to the cabin. They figured he'd fallen into a heavy sleep. Instead of finding a snoring man, the crew entered an empty cabin. The captain had vanished without a trace. Donner was too large to fit through the 2 portholes in his room, and he showed no signs of depression or suicidal thoughts. Local ports and ships searched for Donner in the water, but found no sign of him anywhere. To this day, Donner's disappearance remains unsolved, and the case remains as much of a mystery now as it was in 1937. Stories about the mysterious Lake Michigan Triangle often involve ships, but planes have also disappeared over these waters. The most notable incident is the disappearance of Northwest Airlines Flight 2501. Hey, I used to work in reservations for them back in the early 2000s. On June 23, 1950, Flight 2501, carrying 55 passengers and 3 crew, departed LaGuardia Airport for Minneapolis at 8:35 p.m. Despite expected thunderstorms, Captain Robert Lind requested to descend to 4,000 feet to avoid turbulence, which was approved. Severe turbulence over Lake Michigan led air traffic control to instruct Lind to descend to 3,500 feet. Lind and his co-pilot then steered south to avoid storm activity but flew directly into a squall line. At 11:13 p.m., they made their last radio transmission, requesting to descend to 2,500 feet, which was denied due to another plane departing from Milwaukee. Minutes later, the plane disappeared from radar. By 1 a.m., Northwest Airlines alerted Michigan State Police about a possible crash. Local residents reported hearing a low-flying aircraft and a flash of light over the lake. The following evening, the U.S. Coast Guard found debris and an oil slick 12 miles off South Haven. Human remains, a seat armrest, pieces of upholstery, a Northwest Airlines blanket, and a child's pants were found. However, no sizable parts of the plane or its engines were recovered, with most debris smaller than a hand. And yes, a hand was part of the debris. Authorities assumed the aircraft crashed into Lake Michigan, likely hitting the water at high velocity. The cause remains undetermined, with theories ranging from bad luck and lack of visual clarity to a lightning strike or a UFO. That same night, 2 police officers reported seeing 2 red lights hovering over the lake for 10 minutes before disappearing. Despite yearly searches funded by nautical thriller author Clive Cussler and undertaken by the Michigan Shipwreck Research Associates, the wreckage has never been found. The plane may have sunk into the muck at the lake's bottom. There are 2 memorial graves for Flight 2501 victims, one at St. Joseph Area Cemetery and one at Lakeview Cemetery in South Haven. The Lake Michigan Triangle could be influenced by its own underwater Stonehenge. In 2007, Northwestern Michigan College archaeology professor Mark Hawley and colleague Brian Abbott conducted a sonar search for shipwrecks around the triangle. They discovered a line of stones in about 40 feet of water arranged comparably to Stonehenge. Divers sent to photograph the site found what looks like a prehistoric carving of a mastodon. This giant mammal roamed the earth until about 12,700 years ago. A little topographical history for you. A while back, Lake Michigan's water levels dropped significantly and remained low for 3,500 years before rising again about 5,000 years ago. During this dry period, the area was heavily inhabited, offering a perfect living space close to both land and water. A researcher used stereophotogrammetry. Stereophotogrammetry. 8 syllables, not bad. But can you get back up? This created a 3D model of the rock from 2D photos. He traced the indentations, revealing a carving of a mastodon. The exact location of this site is kept secret for ongoing research and out of respect for the nearby Grand Traverse Bay Native American community. You know someone would fuck it up if they knew where it was. The reason for the formation remains uncertain. The stones might have served as a sort of road sign for a prehistoric drive lane for herding caribou, similar to another underwater site in Lake Huron. Drive lanes have been used for thousands of years to herd animals towards hunters waiting in a kill zone. The precise arrangement of these underwater stones, much like Stonehenge, lacks a definitive explanation, adding to the triangle's mystery. Could these ancient rock formations influence the strange weather patterns and the weird fuckery recorded in the Lake Michigan Triangle? While rational explanations exist for each event, the mounting coincidences and eerie occurrences make this tale particularly unsettling. The connection to ancient human inhabitants like the Hopewell and late woodland Native Americans further deepens the enigma surrounding the Lake Michigan Triangle. This one trips me the fuck out. Stephen Kubacki, or is it Kubaki? How about Bukaki? Anyway, he was a 23-year-old student at Hope College in Holland, Michigan. On February 20th, 1978, he was on a solo cross-country skiing trip near Saugatuck, Michigan, when he disappeared. The next day, snowmobilers found his equipment abandoned, and police located his footprints on the ice, but the way they abruptly stopped suggested Kubacki had fallen through the ice and died of either hypothermia or drowning. The mystery appeared all but solved until May 5th, 1979, when Kubacki showed up in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, 15 months after seemingly disappearing into the icy depths of Lake Michigan. He found himself lying in the grass, some 700 miles away. What? Kubacki told reporters he had no memory of the past year and a half. When he awoke, he was wearing weird clothes and his backpack contained random maps. This led him to believe he'd been traveling. He also had a t-shirt from a Wisconsin marathon, which he explained by saying, "I feel like I've done a lot of running." The location of Kubacki's disappearance has led many to suggest he was yet another victim of the Lake Michigan Triangle. While there are some who think he's lying regarding his amnesia, others figure an alien abduction is the reason behind his disappearance and lack of memory. Missing time is a common element of alien abductions. The baffling circumstances with which Kubacki disappeared and then reappeared, whether linked to an unearthly cause or not, will forever be a riddle. In more modern times, on July 3, 1998, Donald Shaler was flying a 2-seat, high-performance, single-engine jet often used as a military trainer by Eastern European countries. Shaler, a veteran pilot, was planning on participating in his first air show for the National Cherry Festival in Traverse City, Michigan. In the passenger seat was Donovan Rodriguez, a flight instructor at Northwestern Michigan College. At 6 p.m., Shaler radioed that he was 27 miles from the Cherry Capital Airport, where he left from, and was on his way back. Soon afterwards, flight controllers saw that the jet vanished from radar and they were unable to make contact with Shaler. Coast Guard helicopters quickly began searching the area, but found nothing. The following day, a Canadian cargo plane, and the Blue Angels C-130 Fat Albert joined the search. Despite scouring miles of land and water, no clues were found, and the search ended on July 9th. The cause of the disappearance was never determined. Michigan State Police believe the aircraft crashed into Lake Michigan, but are unsure why. The weather was calm that day. Both men were experienced pilots, and the aircraft was considered to be simple and reliable. The plane was also equipped with parachutes and ejection seats. One witness reported hearing a plane flying overhead and then a loud firecracker-like sound. However, he never saw a plane. Later that year, an underwater search was conducted using sonar technology. It uncovered a 30-foot-long object that searchers believed to be the plane. The following year, divers confirmed that the object was a rock formation. In 2008, another sonar search discovered a possible plane approximately 450 feet below the surface. It was next to a boat that sank in the 1950s. However, a dive could not be completed to confirm if the object was a plane, as the diver was not certified past 400 feet. Come on, man, do better. Over hundreds of years, all kinds of strange shit have occurred in the Lake Michigan Triangle, defying logical explanation. Here are both natural and paranormal theories for these phenomena. Many shipwrecks and disappearances in Lake Michigan are attributed to wind waves. The lake's elongated shape and parallel shores enable dangerous currents, including riptides and longshore tides. Additionally, the lake's north-south orientation and wind patterns create large waves. Another theory involves magnetic anomalies due to magnetic deviation, the difference between true north and magnetic north. Lake Michigan has a westward deviation of 4 to 5 degrees. Such errors in compass readings caused by local magnetic fields can fuck with navigators. Charles Berlitz, known for his books on paranormal phenomenon, believed the same forces affecting the Bermuda Triangle also influenced the Lake Michigan Triangle. Aviator Jay Gorley supported this in his 1977 book, The Great Lakes Triangle, claiming the Great Lakes have more unexplained disappearances per unit area than the Bermuda Triangle. Paranormal researchers suggest the triangle sits on a negative energy vortex, which oozes danger and malevolence. Ley lines, which intersect ancient structures and landmarks, are often linked to energy vortexes. A ley line map shows one running through Lake Michigan. Another theory assigns the triangle's vortex to the underwater Stonehenge I talked about earlier. Some link the triangle's occurrences to aliens, citing several UFO sightings as evidence. Michigan ranks high in UFO sightings, with many residents suspecting the Lake Michigan Triangle is the reason. The disappearance of Northwest Flight 2501 and local reports of unexplained lights have fueled interest among ufologists. Wisconsin has also reported UFO sightings over the Lake Michigan Triangle since 1913. In 1919, the New York Times reported 2 colossal fireballs fallen into the triangle, blamed on meteors by some, but considered unearthly by other folks. It hasn't been proved either way. More recently, on March 8, 1994, hundreds of Michigan residents along the Lake Michigan shoreline reported seeing disc-like objects with flashing lights. A local National Weather Service radar operator reported the sighting, stating, "These aren't storms." The explanations for the disappearances and deaths in the Lake Michigan Triangle are all over the place and very mysterious. Tales of the Lake Michigan Triangle feature strange weather and mysterious occurrences. Reports claim the triangle acts as a time portal, altering time. Others report UFO sightings and bright lights in the sky. Sudden, fierce winds and blocks of ice falling from clear skies are pretty common. Sailors have even brought back ice chunks to prove it. The lake's depths or an unknown force may cause these phenomena. Over 6,000 ships have been lost in the Great Lakes, with 150 disappearing without a trace. Despite scientific efforts, the reasons for these disappearances remain unclear. Lake Michigan's legends are as deep and mysterious as its waters. Travelers are advised to stay alert to avoid becoming part of the lake's enigmatic history. Questions about magnetic declination, underwater stone patterns near Grand Traverse Bay, and possible alien involvement still remain unanswered. The superstitious navigate carefully to avoid the Lake Michigan Triangle, wary of its unexplained phenomena. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss out on more weird shit. What do you think is going on with Lake Michigan? Drop a comment below with your opinion. Next week is the final video in the Triangle series, and it's a fucking monster. The Alaska Triangle. This thing is just mind-blowing. You're not gonna want to miss it. Until next time, y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you for watching and listening until the very end. You kick total ass.